right, a very good morning to you and you're welcome to the program. It's the 10th of June 2024 and we thank Almighty for giving us yet another day to go through the issues of the country. Let's go through the headlines of the newspaper starting with a daily graphic, and it says SNIT contributors gain automatic NHIS migration. Nation records first Wilson's disease at Kolebutujing Hospital. Historic royal visit, Garmanche, Asante Deepin Bond. Ghanaian Times, sustained Green Ghana project gains. President urges citizenry. Awutu-Senya East Constituency NDCPC granted bail over alleged gun possession without authority. We can't guarantee safety of most animal products on sale, Veterinary Services Directorate warns public. Gbese Manche reforms Odadeo to lift 1 month ban on drumming, noise making in Mashi. Daily Guide, Garmanche calls for unity. Isaac Osei joins running mate race. Interesting consideration. Baumia storms NPP World Bank. NPP won't rely on EC for victory. Ghana, Brunei discuss Commonwealth bid. The New Crusading Guide. High Court cancels 2 landline properties land titles at ABBEY. Blame Mahama NDCPC on Ato Komsin stabbing. Kojo Enim. Napo commends Garmanche for efforts in building bridges between ethnic groups. Stop killing our people. Management of SRIGH warns Adeso community. Ibwakwa South MPP pledged 95% victory for Baumia and PC to break the 8-year cycle. Abino say Asari outdoor campaign for election. The top right corner says Berima Osei Kofi Amenyampong II installed Achim Dra Sohene or Chiman Kania. The Insight, Demo rocks Western region over over Adamu's saga. President CJ given 14 days to restore IMC. Scott's Reuters, Russia victory over Ukraine drawing near. Education Minister reviews name of first smart school under government smart school project. High Court quashes 2 landline properties, land title certificates at Abiman. Angry Achim Esum community demands removal of district police commander. The Herald. Napo begins Baumia running maid duties, preaches unity, progress, cordiality among ethnic group ahead of announcement. Akufo-Addo underscores Green Ghana Day. Yvonne Nelson leads Dumsoma stop protest. Ghana's judiciary on ready for illegal mining fight. Forestry Commission. This matter. Ghana's judiciary on ready for illegal mining fight. Forestry Commission. Mahama promises beach cleaning jobs. The Inquisitor. Collapse of GM Bank. Indrum nails Ken with hardcore evidence. Dr. Prempe calls on Garmanche, says unity progress rooted in cordiality among the ethnic groups. Pusiga seat to fall for Alhaji Hanan. Security analyst calls out Adam Bona for attacking Yoko boss. And NLA partners European lottery officials on responsible gaming training. The Daily Statesman, 52 million trees planted in 4 years as Akufo-Addo demands intensified action on climate change biodiversity laws. Ghana seals deal with Korea to improve road network. Napo laws efforts at uniting ethnic groups. DI urges school authorities to nurture Green Ghana trees to mature. Second Lady launches ASCA to promote climate action. The Ghanaian publisher. Majority introduces putting out the fact series. CRI Ghana worried of killing of workers at Adeso. Akufo-Addo applauds Green Ghana success, commends Lands Minister leadership. NHRA reforms will improve access quality. Dr. Abuaji da Costa. The New Finder. Ashanti Ghana Unity Elevated. Otumfuo donates 500k Ghana cedis during historic visit to Gamanche. President touts planting of 52 million trees in 4 years. NHRA scraps registration and renewal fees for SNIT contributors. Chamber of Mines warns of escalating cost in Ghana's gold production. The Daily Post. Ghana comes close to explosion as police fire and suffocate NDC activities with tear gas. Former national security couples Gbevlo Totobi not spared. Determined activists finally secure release of Nakoyo. John Mahama takes campaign to the Tema Fishing Harbour. Will not allow coercive powers of the state to be used against us. And that's all we have for you for the headlines this morning. Let's take a breather. We'll be back shortly. All right, you're welcome back to the program. And this morning, I have with me Lara Tumusasaka, who is the Deputy Executive Secretary for the Postal Courier Services Regulatory Commission, PCSRC, and also a member of the NPP Communications team. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, Annie.
And how are you?
I'm good.
Okay. I also have Dr. Grace Ayen Sudankwa, who is an educationist and also the NDC Communications team member, and she's also PC for the Esikado Ketan. Yes, Esikado Ketan. That's your constituency. The Ketan, is it a fancy name?
Yes.
What does it mean?
I don't know.
You don't know?
You know how like good names come up. It's one of the areas in the town. It's a really big town. It's an old town. It's a railway, you know, when the railway passed through Ketan. So it's one of the really nice parts of my constituency.
Ketan.
Ketan, yes.
Ketan. It sounds very foreign. That's what I was asking.
No, it's very local.
The typical fancy name.
Very typical. Esikado, you know, Esikado,
yes,
money.
Yeah.
We have a lot of gold.
Yeah.
And we are a very rich, proud town. We contributed to the independence of Ghana.
Esikado Ketan. So how's the constituency? Do you have a gun?
No, I don't.
You don't have a gun?
No, I'm looking for one if you can find me.
What for?
You know, before we start, I want to say thank you to my constituents, the people of Esikado Ketan constituency. Thank you to my executives, and thank you to the people that are really helping me. We are sure and confident that we will win the 2024 election. And we are also confident that we'll win it for John Mahama in 2024. I think you brought up the gun issue regarding the Nakoyo issue, right? What I see as a parliamentary candidate myself is that the MPP is engaged in a lot of intimidation. So, and especially for those of us who are women in the field. For me, in my constituency, I'm going through a lot. It is my opponent's campaign is a campaign of misinformation, disinformation, and also a campaign of character assassination. You know, they have no message and they have no record to campaign on. So it's almost mimicking what is happening nationally. In other words, what Bawumia is doing to Mahama and what they did to him in 2016, prior to 2016 election. You know, they had all kinds of unprintable things about him. Every time Bawumia had an opportunity to say something, he would make fun of Mahama and mock him, call him corrupt, call him Malam John. And it was like they had actually part of their campaign strategy.
So what do they call you?
Oh, they're calling me all kinds of names. The last time I heard, they said I killed my mother. I beat my mother and killed her.
Oh.
My mother died in 2010. I was not even in the country. You understand?
Oh.
My mother has died since 2010. I was out of the country. I came to my mother's funeral. My mother was one of my favorite people in this world. She was a very strong woman.
Where did you hear that from?
That's the campaign they're doing now. They have nothing to campaign on.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's a campaign of serious character assassinations. That's all they're doing, you know. And I think that the strategy is that hopefully they will say bad things about me enough, and then it will cause disaffection for me. Because he really has no track record. He cannot come to Esikado Ketan and say that, oh, I have provided these amount of boreholes for my people. He cannot come there and say, I have provided, I've built roads. He can't come there and say, I have done this for the school children. He can't come there and say that I have built taxi stations, like sheds for taxi stations as I have.
Is that to say that he's never done those projects for... He's been there for quite...
Yes, so we've never seen him before.
I dare call him one of the Mugabes of Parliament, maybe.
Who?
It's the MP?
No, the MP is not running again. I'm talking about the new person coming who has been the regional secretary, quote unquote, and so has zero record to speak of. So now,
but that reminds me, but he can campaign on the back of the former MP.
But you're only campaigning on the back of the former MP when you have a track record to go by. So there's no track record, there's no legacy. So now it is purely, especially when you're a woman, and they try to portray you like maybe you're unstable, or when they say stuff like that, they think that it will stick. And so I can empathize with Nakoyo, what she's going through. But unfortunately for her, it's actually coming from another woman. And that is what even makes it more sad. And for me, it hurts the most. You remember this Nakoyo issue that her gun, first of all, was not even on her body. The gun was found in a car, in a vehicle, quote unquote, with her driver and apparently her security. She never shot the gun. The gun was not even found at a registration center, right? So for what reasons did the security forces have to even search her vehicle?
So the gun was not fired?
No, it was not fired. It was not on her body. It was found in her vehicle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, the question is, on what authority do they even have to search somebody's vehicle without really, you have to have a reason to stop and search a car.
Intelligence.
Well, intelligence on what? If somebody has a duly registered a gun, and it is where it's supposed to be in her car, and she's not touched it, she hasn't shot it. What intelligence? I don't get what intelligence would do. This is the same constituency where the current MP has actually brought a gun to a registration center and shot the gun and wounded people. People were running, people were traumatized, people had orthopedic injuries, they were broken limbs, people had cuts on them. And it was very chaotic that day. But up till now, there has not been any investigations, and she was never called to the police station and was never detained. So what I see in Nakoyo's situation is that I think it's an attempt to suppress her views. It's an attempt to intimidate her. It's an attempt to make her afraid, so that she can maybe sit back and allow this woman who has proven track record of being like a thug to take over that constituency. But I'm also encouraged that the people of her constituency will look at who she is. She's a young woman who is determined to come and help her people. And I'm sure that the constituents will see that. They will see the good in her. They see what she's bringing to the table. And they will see that she's also going to encourage more young women to come into politics, and people like me who are traditionally not politicians to come into the political field and really come and serve our people rather than coming into the politics to take whatever it is we take from the people. So I empathize. I'm sorry she had to go through that, but I'm also glad that she stood her ground. I'm also glad that she has made her case, and I'm also glad that the people are supporting her. I'm also encouraged that she will win this election come December 7th, 2024, and then she will show the young girls in her constituency that you don't have to be a thug, you don't have to misbehave, you don't have to shoot people in registration centers to become an MP and to really care about the constituency. So I'm happy. I'm not happy for her, but I'm glad that she has done what she has done. And we pray that this woman who has a proven track record of being disorderly and of shooting people at registration centers will lay off of this young girl and make sure that she and the security forces will make sure that she's protected and that we will see her through a very successful election.
So this is how the Ghanaian Times captured the Wutusinya East constituency. NDC-PC granted bail over gun possession without authority. The National Democratic Congress parliamentary candidate for the Wutusinya East constituency, Phyllis Nakoyo Okuno, was over the weekend granted bail by the police after she was arrested for alleged transfer of firearms without authority. She was arrested together with 2 others last Friday at the Electoral Commission office at Ofanko near Kaswa in the Wutusinya East municipality in the Central Region, but was transferred to Accra and held in the police custody overnight at the Cantonment Police Station, Accra. The NDC-PC arrest drew condemnation from her constituents and supporters. Former President John Dramani Mahama and flag bearer of the NDC for the 2024 elections and the NDC leading members of the party, including John Osedin Ketia, national chairman, blah, 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 goes on to say that the NDC members and supporters massed up to the Cantonment Police Station where Ms. Okono was detained and demanded her immediate release. So the police service had since denying the allegations made by Osedin Ketia, describing it as a false and without any basis. There was the report that the firearm she had, even though it was registered, the registration name did not match the firearm, and that had to do with the spelling of some name, which your people thought, I mean, how?
That is exactly, I agree with my people. I mean, really how? It's just a syllable, like an L, where Phyllis is like double L, and she only had, the person who actually gave her the permit actually misspelled the name. So how is that an indictment on someone when the rest of the names are the same, when she actually must have used her own documentation to obtain that firearm? She said,
but you know, it can also be a case. You might see it as that unimportant, but it can be a case. If your name is spelled with a double L and you're registering a firearm, you must, I know the rigorous process people go through to register a firearm. So you will also have to double check. Once your registration documents are handed over to you, make sure everything is correct. If you leave it like that, one day you might face a similar problem.
I think that we are digressing. The issue at hand is that we have a certain MP who has actually brought a firearm to a registration center and has actually shot that firearm. There was no investigation.
Yeah.
Nothing happened to her. She was not detained. This young lady had the gun in the car, in the vehicle.
Yeah.
She never was holding the firearm. She never fired it. The gun was not even at a registration center. It was far away from a registration center. So what are we talking about?
The point I'm making is that you are making a point of comparison where a sitting MP carried out an action, which you expected that she would be in the hands of the law. In fact, we all expected that. But that didn't happen. In this case, upon intelligence, they pick up the firearm in her car. It's not an accusation of you fired it or you didn't fire it. We pick up a firearm from your car. We want to check if it's registered. We check the registration, you say it's yours. And we're saying that, well, the name spelling is different from your name.
Annie, my name is Grace Ayensu Dankwa. Some people spell it with the D-A-N-Q-U-A-H, which is the right spelling. Most people spell it D-A-N-K-W-A. That is correct. It's still Grace Ayensu Dankwa. It is the different, maybe, accents or the different tribalistic pronunciations of the same version or different iteration of the same name. It doesn't make me a criminal. if somebody misspelled my name and I forgot to even double check. It is the same Grace Ayensu Dankwa. Dankwa has different spellings in different parts of the country. So I don't get what this argument is about. There is no issue here. There is no case. She never fired the firearm. She also told us that she uses it for self-protection.
Yeah.
This is a woman who has been terrorizing this young woman for years. And this young woman got a firearm, registered it, duly registered it, and is using it for personal protection. There is nothing wrong with it. I think she needs to protect herself, especially since during the last incident, the security forces did not protect her.
Yeah.
The police did not protect her. And I'm afraid that at some point she had to, she felt it necessary to have to protect herself. So I think it's a non-issue. I think it's just a way to intimidate her. I think it's a way to cower her into submission and so that she can let go of this constituency. But I'm so glad that the people of her constituency would never allow this to happen. Right. What this woman has done in the past is egregious. What this woman has done in the past is unprecedented. What this woman has done, I mean the sitting MP has done, is unconscionable. And we have to call her out for what she is, just a street thug.
Right. All right. Let me have you have a bite on this.
That's interesting. Good morning to our viewers. I mean, Doc has just done exactly what she's accusing opponents as doing, just leveling allegations at someone without any just cause. So if you are worried about someone saying things that are not true about you, I think you also have to exercise discretion when you're also talking, especially when you don't know what you're saying for a fact. And the space is already a difficult space for women. So when we set out to engage and also do those things, we need to be very careful. Because whatever you do is definitely going to set the stage for the other younger people coming up. Annie, let's go into this issue. And I'm reading these things from the verified Facebook page of Ghana Police Service. So on 2nd June, Ghana Police Service put up a post. Police arrest 2 persons in connection with a disturbance at Ofako EC office near Kaswa. So just indulge me. The Ghana Police Service has arrested 2 people in connection with the disturbance at Ofako Electoral Commission office near Kaswa in Central Region. That was 2nd June, Sunday. Then the disturbance which ensued this dawn over queuing before the commencement of the day's activities at the EC office led to the injury of 2 people. Calm has since been restored at the registration center. The suspects are in custody, assisting police investigation. Right. Then you go to...
What was the name mentioned?
If you let me finish, Doc. It's obvious you haven't been following. Then updates a day ago. Updates on police investigation into violent disturbances at Awutu Senya East constituency. The Ghana Police Service has cautioned and subsequently granted bail to 3 persons who were arrested before when a pump-action gun with 4 rounds of ammunition was found in their vehicle at the offices of Electoral Commission at Ofako in the Awutu Senya East constituency of the Central Region. Suspect Phyllis Nakoyo Okono has been cautioned on the offense of transfer of firearms without authority, while suspects Abdulaziz and Mustafa Muhammad have been cautioned on the offense of possession of firearms without authority. Meanwhile, on Thursday, 6 June 2024, the court remanded into police custody to reappear on 19 June 2024 suspect Usman Haruna for stabbing 1 person during the disturbance at the office of the Electoral Commission at Ofako in Awutu Senya East constituency. Police investigations are ongoing, while the case docket is being forwarded to the Office of Attorney General for study and advice. Annie. this is a police investigation going on. I mean, I won't sit here in 2024 and say that the police should draw people, just pick up people and keep them in the office. But this is an ongoing investigation. And I listened to Nakoyo. She had this interview with Omar Sanda on CTFM. And she admitted of having the car in her, a gun in her car and all that. An incident had happened. The police have investigated. Suspects have been picked up. I mean, once they spoke to her or interrogated her and they haven't found anything yet, she's been cautioned and let go, right? That is how it should be. But this attitude...
Did the transfer of the gun constitute she giving a gun to someone or she moving a gun from one point to the other? Because as far as I'm concerned, the gun is hers. Yes. She's registered it. So what does the police mean by transfer of gun?
What does the police mean? I think you have to be asking the police.
Okay.
What I'm drawing our attention to is the police has a duty to make. This attitude of our compatriots in the NDC, making it seem as if anytime they are in opposition, every state institution is against them. It's like anytime they are not doing what they are supposed to do, they are not selling any message. What are they telling people? Doc sat here a few minutes ago and said, we have no message and all that. I was just waiting for her. I was just waiting for her to say, this is what I am going to do. This is what I'm going. No alternative, nothing. They accuse us. They know everything that the MPP is doing. It's like now, even if rain falls in doctor's house, it will be the MPP. They know everything that the MPP is doing. They know every strategy of the MPP, but they can't just tell us what they are bringing on board. And this is something that we all need to be cautious of. I listened to the national chairman of the NDC when the supporters of the NDC went to the police station in solidarity with their PC. And I was amazed. If I was an NDC member, I would have felt so insulted. Is that how gullible he thinks his party members are? That all that he was hearing is order from above, order from above. Abba. National chairman. Is this how gullible you think your party people are? That's yeah. And I'll be glad if you can play that tape for everybody to listen to. Those are not things we should be encouraging. The police has a duty to keep us safe. When the police is doing their duty, we also have the responsibility to make sure that nobody will condone police infringing on anybody's right. But what the police did they infringe on her rights at any point? If they did, the police must answer. But if there's an ongoing investigation and a PC or any other person is found to be a suspect and will help in the investigation, I think these are not things we should be stampeding. And we need to be careful.
What the police is encouraging is doing selective sort of investigation. Yeah. That's what the police is doing.
They did what?
If the police work like this,
yes,
what they will encourage is what they saw with Nakoyo. Because if I have a sitting MP in my constituency, I am contesting. She comes out with a firearm. In her case, she actually fired it. We had the information. We all had it. She herself knows that we know. If the police does not investigate or choose that they will not investigate her...
you have information on what?
For a Wutu Senior MP,
yes,
for using a firearm,
yes,
in a registration center.
When?
And are you asking me when?
Yes.
And let me give you the dates. Which one does she want to know?
Don't worry. I will get you the information if you don't know. But I'm telling you, the fact I want to tell you is that if the police decide to go on the path of selective investigations,
you think
what they're going to do, yes. Okay. Because what they're going to do is to encourage other people to feel I am not protected. So I will also decide to take my own protection into my care. It is worrying that today we find that even at registration centers, we are having knives, injuries, we're having gunshots, we're having blade attacks. It's crazy. Everybody feels like I am now coming prepared.
Annie,
because I cannot assure myself of any authority security protection.
Annie, in 2020, I was at my
That's what's happening,
center.
Lara. I'm trying to let you understand.
No, let me.
I was at my collation center in
I'll come back to you.
Please. Let's
and I'll give you the date of how Akunsu's gunshot. It's July 20th, 2020.
It's July 20th.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yes, 2020. Annie, you're a journalist, right? You're supposed to get us information. And in your statement, you said you have information, right? When that incident happened, who was supposed to deal with it? It was the Ghana Police Service. They're supposed to investigate it and get to it. As I sit here, I can't tell you what Ghana Police Service did about it.
Exactly.
Because in our usual ways of doing things, when the issue picks up, we are all upbeat about it. Nobody follows up.
Oh.
Yes, if you can tell me.
You see the way you read this
if
on
you
the
can
page?
tell yes.
No, hold on. You see the way you read
yes.
this on the page of the Ghana... I was following. Actually, I went on their page. You see the way
so
you read it.
So what did they say about that incident?
Yeah, have you seen any statement put out
What are we
that?
talking about? We're talking about 2020, right?
Yes,
We're talking about 2020.
I haven't.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, that if we are speaking to information that Ghana Police Service has said they didn't do anything about that incident, we can have a conversation.
That's what we're having.
No.
That's why I'm trying to say that the conversation I'm trying to say is that if you fail, even if you have tried any investigation, and because it's a public interest matter, you don't put it out for all of us to follow. If you call the Ghana Police Service PR right now, and I'll urge my producers to try it, you will see that they won't speak to us. They want to follow up on that matter now on the show. They won't speak to us. They will decline. So if as much as you put this information out, and because the stakes are high, you are careful, you don't appear to be selective. Because that is their argument, and which I don't expect you to go on that argument anyway, because whatever you do, they have a point. They said, oh, your registration documents, they are not matching your real documents. It's easy to use any excuse Annie, if I'm targeting you. And I can get you if the documents are not really matching, as they say, or as they claim.
No, but in this case, you see, you make
if you're targeting you. Why are they targeting you?
Annie,
that is
you make you see, you make these statements.
I'm using your own words, and I'm asking.
You make these statements and go further to conclude that they are discriminating. They are discriminating. We don't have any information on that case. We can all decide to follow up. But there are a lot of issues that have happened in this country. In the heat of it, we all talk about it. We leave until another incident happens. Nobody even remembers that something happened. The police are supposed to do their job. And I don't sit here speaking for the police. I sit here speaking as a citizen of Ghana and a representative of my political party. And I said that nobody in this space in 2024 should be condoning anything against the rights of a fellow human being. But that is why I read the accounts from the police there. In none of those statements did they even mention the sitting MP. All this, it was Monday. It happened on the Sunday. Monday morning when we came here last week, there wasn't a lot of information about it because police were investigating. They investigated, they traced suspects, they picked them. Those that have to be detained were detained. Those that have to be cautioned were cautioned. That is how the police have to do their job. So I don't think that you saying this is what they do and people have registered guns in this country. Why is it there? Why did she find need to register?
She said that she has been threatened four times by the sitting MP.
If she's been threatened,
and she has gone to the police
been threatened
and
four
she didn't
times,
get any response. So
she has evidence.
The need
who is she
herself.
talking to? Who is she talking to that is not listening to her?
But Larry, if you go through the same ordeal, what will you do?
If I go through the same ordeal and I don't, the same way we are shouting, that's the same way I'll have to call the police out.
Wouldn't you
because
have a gun?
if I've been threatened by, and you don't necessarily need to have a gun to
Protect yourself.
protect yourself. You don't necessarily need a gun to protect yourself. But if you think that where you are, you need a gun, and you go through due process and acquire a gun, there's nothing against the law.
Okay.
It's the usage of it that will either put you in trouble or keep you safe.
She hasn't
because
used the gun,
that same thing. But for you to say that, oh, I've acquired a gun to protect myself from another human being, how many guns can you have to protect yourself from another human being if you don't keep the police? So if she's speaking to the police, she's lodged a complaint and nobody is doing something about it, then it's something that the police must be dealing about. If we all decide to be owning guns, will we be safe?
But that's what we're getting
And
to.
your gun, and she doesn't, but us,
when you go to
Doc sits here as a PC, she doesn't move alone.
When you go to City,
Does she move alone? She doesn't move alone. At least you move with a driver or another person when she's moving around. But if the gun ends up in the hands of a wrong person
when you go
in the
to
middle of
City
a
Room,
scuffle.
Annie, when you go to City Room FM, this is from last year. I mean, she said, Howard Kumson's own words. She said she also acquired the gun to protect herself. Okay. So what is the difference between, is that are some people more equal under the law than some? Are we being fair to everyone? The issue here is the fact that it appears that she's been targeted. It appears that she's been intimidated. The MP said the same thing when she acquired the gun, but she actually brought a live weapon to a registration center and actually shot the gun.
So someone says that, good morning, yeah, someone says, good morning, Annie. The incident involving Howard Kumsin, a member of parliament for the Kaswa, for the fire gun at a polling station in 2020 was indeed widely criticized. Many Ghanaians saw her actions as wrong and dangerous. Despite this, she received substantial support from some quarters, which may include political backing from certain MPs, possibly from the National Democratic Congress, NDC, a young lady who has taken steps to protect herself. This is Carlos. Should be allowed to do so. Carlos from Odododio sent this in.
She didn't even shoot the gun. That is the whole thing. And it was concealed in her vehicle. It wasn't a gun on her body, and she wasn't walking around with a gun. So let's get it clear. It's two different incidents. They didn't have to intimidate her. And let me tell you something. Laura, can I finish? Can I finish?
I was talking.
So in 2020, at my collation center, I counted about 15 AK-47s.
You counted?
I literally, I'll show you some images if you can project it. To about 15 AK-47s in armed militia. The only way I knew that they were not proper military is that they didn't have a name tag.
Badge, okay.
But they had everything else that appeared that they were military. And one other thing that I also noticed that appeared that they were not real military was that they all had beards and some of them had earrings. And so you could tell that they were party vigilantes now dressed as military.
Special forces.
Exactly, whatever they're called, right? And they were at my collation center. I literally counted 15 AK-47s at my collation center. This is what they do. They intimidate us. They make us now want to get into politics. They will cower you into submission. They will accuse you. And then after they did all that, now I am the woman in the collation center. You have brought 15 guns to take my vote. I mean, the people's choice, the vote. The people wanted to vote for me. The people voted for me. I went to the collation center because I had won that election, right? They wrestled me. They turned off the lights. It was all kinds of chaos and confusion.
Oh, that was really chaotic.
They actually shot like the same as how Akumsin did, air shots or whatever. I was inside the yard, but all I could hear was 3 shots, pow, pow, pow. And those 3 shots, people were injured. I had to take them to the hospital and take care of them on the night of the election. So this is what they do. Then they turn around and make it sound like the person who's been intimidated, the person whom they are about to shoot, the person whom they are threatening is the one who now is the one who is violent. You see what they do, right? And then they turn around. These are men who are sitting there who came and just took away my election. I didn't give up. I continued to help the constituency. I continued to do everything I was supposed to do. And now they have turned around and they're making it sound like I am the one who's violent. I've never had a gun before. Even in my house, I don't remember the last time I saw a knife in my house.
But I guess you're planning to have one.
No, I don't. I don't need one. Because I know, Annie, yes, because I use, because I do cook, but I have, I peel my onions with a peeler. We have onion peelers, yes.
I see.
So everything I have in my kitchen is high tech. Yeah, everything I have in my kitchen is high tech. So I have peelers and things.
It's digital.
Can I finish, Larati? So, can I finish? So the point I'm trying to make is that this is what they do. When they see as young women, they will try to intimidate us, they try to push us into submission, and they try to make politics not good for everyone. This is a state apparatus. They should at least be fair.
Right.
Fair is fair. For me, I don't need a gun, but I know that I will win the 2024 election hands down without any violence, and we're also appealing to my opponent that this election should be done in peace, because Esikado Ketan constituency doesn't want anything that happened in 2020.
Right.
We are peaceful people. We are very proud people. We are not violent. So the first time they've brought violence, even after that incident, there has been no investigation. So this is what we go through on a daily basis.
Did you make a formal complaint?
Well, I made a formal complaint. We even went to court, and then we took the case out of court because we wanted to focus on restructuring our party and moving forward. So this is what they do, Annie. I have seen this before. I've been a victim of this, and I'm still a victim of their misinformation, disinformation, and character assassination.
Right.
I am still going through it. So I empathize really with Nakoyo. But I'm also appealing to her to hang in there, to stand her ground, to be strong, because she's there not because of herself. She's there because we have a constituency to save and we have a nation to save.
Right.
2024 election is not about NDC MPP.
Right.
2024 election is about Ghana and the stealing, arrogant, rude, state capture, friends and family, nepotism, favoritism, bankrupted, the party that has bankrupted our country. That is what 2024 is about, and the youth of this country are fully aware of it. And come December 7, 2024, these people will be put aside, and we'll get John Mahama as the next president of this country, who's going to come and change the trajectory of Ghana. Thank you.
Okay, Laratu.
See, when we get up from our homes in the morning to come and sit here and discuss issues of importance to you, we need to be able to draw the line between the propaganda and all that. But this morning, the people of Esikado Ketan, I hope they are watching Doc, and I hope they are glad that they didn't vote for her in 2020, and I hope they will continue not to do that. I mean, even how do you even pick the logic out of this? She counted what, 25? What is it? 15 AK-47 at collation center. When you're supposed to be paying attention to the results that are being collated. She was sitting down there counting AK-47. Yes. Right? Sitting there counting AK-47. 15, right? Then also in the same, it doesn't even add up. Then they shot people. Then this same person who is supposed to be collation center keeping an eye on result is taking people to hospital. I mean, how does this even add up? How does this even add up? And she stopped short of telling us what happened to the court, the case that went to court. I mean, Doc,
she said they took it out
when
of
we
court.
The people listening, the people
she said they took it out of court because they wanted
Annie, I didn't miss my word.
She took it out of court because she knew she had no case. The whole narrative that she gives her, that doesn't even make sense. We are talking about an issue that has happened in Kaswa. When you talk about the MP4, she was invited by police. You can verify that. The MP4, she was invited by the police when that incident happened. Annie, I'm sure when you do a quick Google check, you check. It was a whole issue. I was even on CCTV with Nakoyo herself. At the peak of COVID, we couldn't go in studio, so we did Zoom. We need to be careful, especially as women. I mean, there's all these narratives the doc is giving about arrogance and all that. Go and watch your results, and you see this attitude of trying to set the stage.
People.
You see, it's like set the stage. I know I'm losing, so let me set the stage. Let me bring out all these ridiculous. Abba. How can you even say you don't remember the last time you saw a knife?
Yeah, because I have peelers.
Please,
you asked me how I peel my onions.
Let's stop. When it comes to these issues, these are security issues and issues of matter. Let's stop all the propaganda and deal with it, because it could be any of us. You get it? And if the police, what did the police
and I have been a victim
do?
of
It's an investigation.
So this is what
and
I
all
found
those
on Ghanaian
things.
Times newspaper. It says that Chaos Akaswa, police invite her and 4 others granted bail. So the police have invited the member of...
No. So if we follow up and we have information, then we can discuss it. But drawing this one in and all that, drawing this one is just like saying someone has been caught for stealing and say just because someone stole the other time, don't look into my case.
Police, The police officer, PRO, and the Central Police Deputy Superintendent of Ghana Police Service, Irene Opon, confirms to Ghanaian Times. Now, the police PRO said that the statement has been taken from Howard Komsin, who is also the Minister for Special Development Initiative, invited to assist the police in investigations into the chaos and firing of gunshots and polling center at the polling center. Meanwhile, the 4 persons arrested in connection with the disturbances have been granted 30,000 Ghana cedis bail each with 2 sureties by the Cape Coast Circuit Courts. So what's the update of that? Why have they not?
Me, do I work with police?
What is this?
Am I the police?
One of the guys with the AK.
Please, if you have a PC like Doc sitting here with all his wild imaginations and counting of guns, I'm sure they need a lot of security because she can just put out one false alarm and the whole place will be chaotic, because all these stories that she's giving, it doesn't even add up. So with a PC like her, you need a lot of security at the collation center.
I send them to you.
Okay. And this is collect your results, you go counting guns. And this is what they do, set the stage. Because they know they are going to lose. Set the stage to blame others for what they didn't do.
So if you are...
They know all the story. If you are a PC and you see this at your collation center, can you see this?
Special...
Lara too, I have evidence. I have evidence here.
I've been part of elections. I've been part of
coalitions. So you find people coming to the voting center like this.
I won't go counting the guns. I'll go asking, because anytime security come in, ask her if she doesn't have her own security. Ask her. You should be very honest with us.
I didn't have security.
Ask her if she doesn't have people.
Now
even if she doesn't have security, she has people who move around her with her protection. As
I didn't
ask
in
her
2020.
if her team in the constituency, she doesn't have security. Let's be honest when it comes to these things. These are security issues. It can happen to any of us. So all these stories she's telling,
what is it?
Because you see, when you have security coming, they always come with a leader. Ask. You don't go counting their guns.
Photos.
What is counting their guns going to do with anything?
I did. So that I'll have my evidence. Look at this guy. Look at the beard.
Look at these things. Go and convince the people why they should vote for you. Stop all these diversionary tactics.
Speaking at the same time.
Because the two of you won't allow me to speak.
So this one says that, Annie, good morning, Annie. It is clear here that selective amnesia is being applied on when one compares to what happened in 2020 relative to which was treated with kid gloves. Professor Ayensu will surely emerge victorious in the coming elections. David Edu, Tema West constituency, sent that in.
Is telling people
Ambassador Sampiali says that
you are sitting here telling me that you digitalize your kitchen and misleading your followers.
No,
she didn't say she said about everything else. What is high tech?
She used the
what is high tech?
I was the one that said digitalize.
What is high tech? High technology.
A pillar is not digitalization.
In what sense?
So you use digitalization for
you are sitting here, you haven't seen a knife today, but yet you are misleading other people's children to carry knives and other things into constituency.
Okay. So,
your narratives are just wild.
Hold on. Ambassador Sampiali says that ABBEY MPP. She was in the same seat defending Howard Komsin in 2020, and see her in the same seat condemning another nursing mother for lesser or no offense. ABBEY asemi. In
You
fact,
should pull it
I'm
out and
watching
tell me.
TV
I
these
was
days.
on set
Watching
with
TV these
Nakoyo.
days is not only frustrating but blood rising.
It
Have
is.
you seen the PC asking that soldiers who go to arrest them, like Galamsey side, should be attacked? And as a hostess, can you please?
It's
Oh, Ambassador. Okay, I've seen your advice.
Ambassador himself is applying selective amnesia. I can tell you that I was on set with Nakoyo. Go and ask her.
Okay.
She herself. We were on City TV when the incident happened. Go and
Mesuna
ask
from
her.
Tema says that, good morning, Annie. The Ghana Police Service has allowed the ruling government to control and dictate to them what they should do in 2020 when Howard Komsin shot indiscriminately in the polling station. What did the police do with it? There wasn't any arrest to find out. Okay, so we're told that they were invited, they were questioned, but we don't know what happened after. And we're in 2024, 4 years after. And the police investigator who was handling our Kumsin case was transferred unannounced. Now, Koyo's gun was in her car. And the tasks of Howard Kumsin went and pulled the gun from Na Koyo's car. So the late constituency secretary of Ewutu Senya for the NDC, Tuarik, was beaten by tax and of how Kumsin and his gentle soul the gentleman couldn't survive and died. The police must not allow themselves to be destroyed by this institution because the president has just 6 months to go. She has nothing to lose. A word to the wise. Alhassan Mesuna, you sent that in. But there's an allegation to say that the guy died out of tax beating him. Because that also must be investigated and even be put out by the doctor's report that he died out of attacks. Okay. So let's know what the doctor report says, and then we can also draw a conclusion. So let's distinguish ourselves from the statement that you made. Good morning, Annie. Imagine you have registered a gun. Will you keep them under your bed when you're moving out of your house? Trados is asking this question. Mystic from Nsawa Madreji, good morning, Annie. Is undoubtedly fact that undeniably clear that there is no justice and equity under the leadership of this insensitive government led by Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Bawumia. Is Howard Komsin a first-class citizen and now call you a second-class citizen? Enough of this selective justice and amnesia. Never again to this nation records, you say. Well,
Komsin was invited. Now
we don't know the outcome of the investigations.
Yes, but that one is something that we need
investigation to outcome we know.
Yes, that's when was it? 2020. Yes.
Yeah.
These are
we don't know the outcome.
These are facts that you can check. I don't think it.
They didn't put out. They didn't put out a statement.
I mean, the bigger issue here is election violence.
Yeah, actually,
remember,
that is what my concern is. That's the bigger issue.
Remember,
it's disturbing because you know what I was going to say.
8 Ghanaians have died.
That's what I was coming to. I was going to say that if we are not careful,
the person who wants to be our next president.
Yeah, I was going to say that if we're not careful, this will really get out of hand.
Violence. Exactly.
This is democracy. I don't know where guns and knives came into the picture. And we have experienced where people have died.
Yes.
So do we want to experience the worst of it?
So who's in charge of this country
what exactly
today?
do we want to do?
Who's in charge of the country?
Okay.
8 Ghanaians have died. Bawumia, who wants to be the next president
so this
of
one says that
has
there was a promise to build an economy where even if the devil were the president, things will be smoother. And yet, we now find ourselves in this dire situation, as if it's not enough. The same bunch of incompetent and discredited politicians have regrouped to recapture what is left. And the economy keeps declining day by day. Every sad reality. It's a very sad reality, you say. So as rightly stated by John Mahama, this election is about Ghanaians versus NPP. Okay.
That's a very unfortunate
that was
statement to make
on his live streaming. Okay, and citizens will win this battle. I extend my regards to Felix Kwacho for you say. Next MP for Abra Asebu Kwamankase constituency. Musa Abatwa says that Annie, as someone who has the privilege of working closely with former president since his days as an MP from Bole and Minister for Communication, I share my deep concern over the recent conduct of the Inspector General of the Police and the police force in the unlawful arrest and detention of Phyllis Koyo. President Mahama has always championed the principles of justice and human rights, and incident as is a stark reminder of the need to reform within our law enforcement constitutions. It is imperative that the IGP addresses the issue promptly and restore public confidence and ensure that such abuse of power is not tolerated in our democratic society. Is this something that you are seeing, that you are beginning to lose trust?
What's happening in this country?
But are you desperate of getting a toothpaste that will take care of the family? Then go for the Kel 360 toothpaste. It provides your family with all-round dental protection and throughout the day, and freshness also. The Kel 360 toothpaste is good for kids, children, and adults. So let your family be proud of it by the use of Kel 360. It's also a product from the Samara Company Limited and producers of Sasso, available in all supermarkets. Call them on 024-686-4798. And also Lift and Elevators says if you want to enjoy the fruit of your labor, then look no further. If the climb down the stairs is also very difficult and exercising could be challenging, then you want to go for Lift and Elevators. They are available on the market with American pneumatic vacuum elevators, and will be available to install within 3 days one in your home and also in your offices. They also can lift your goods as well. Lift and Elevators is located at Sakumono. Call them on 0200-535-515 or email them at elevators@gmail.com for consultations and best vertical movements. Let's take a breather. When we come back, we'll get into the issues of these campaign promises that are coming through. Is that what we have to focus on all violence in our constituencies? We'll be back shortly.
Hello everyone, I'm John Mahama, former President of Ghana, leader and presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress in this year's presidential and parliamentary elections to be held on 7th December. Notwithstanding all these socioeconomic difficulties, the young people continue to observe the opulence of the administration's officials and their families, chartering private jets at $20,000 an hour for trips that our own Falcon executive jets could have done. And as the Minister for Defense explained it, because it had no shower for presidential baths. Ghana's youth have further experienced how a minister could stash millions of dollars in her home. And only God knows the full extent of Ghanaian taxpayers' money that is stashed away by many others in this Akufo-Addo and Bawumia-led government. But I say to the good people of Ghana that working with Ghanaians and their international and anti-corruption partners, we shall do all that is humanly possible to retrieve such wrongly acquired wealth. The inequality and selective justice of this government are galling. Otherwise, how could Hawa Kumsin, who fired a weapon at a registration center and boasted about it, walk away free? And a parliamentary candidate for Ewutu Senya East is detained partly because the very police that issued her with a firearms license misspelled her name. If the government was seeking to break the spirit of Nakoyo with that politically organized arrest, they rather handed over the Ewutu Senya East parliamentary seat to the young woman who by all standards towers over and above the incumbent. My dear youth, while I agree with your justifiable anger and disappointment,
okay, so and those are some of the promises. That's a series that John Mahama said he has started. It's called the John Mahama Conversation, right? Okay, I'll get to that, but just quickly before that, and some of the promises also given by Dr. Bawumia as well, but that's on that campaign tour. This was a live broadcast he launched or he started yesterday and I'm sure it's going to continue. But I came across a story which was quite interesting, and it's in the Central Region. Tricycles and motorcycle riders responsible for teen pregnancies in Central Region reports. The research conducted by the Central Region Office of the National Youth Authority, NYA, has shown that perpetrators of teen pregnancy, child marriage, and sexual and gender-biased violence are mostly commercial tricycles and motor riders. So this research was conducted based on reports that the incidence of sexual and gender-based violence and sexuality transmitted infections, STIs, were on the rise in the region. The Mrs. Anita Nana Segua Ansa, Central Regional Director of NYA, made this known at a day training of trainers workshop for tricycle and motor riders to educate them on negative effect of teenage pregnancy, child marriages, and other harmful practices. It was organized by the NYA in collaboration with the Central Regional Coordinating Council and sponsored by the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, to help reduce the incidence of teen pregnancy and child marriages in the region. The participants were drawn from Commander Edina Eguafe, Brim, Cape Coast, Asin Fosu, Ebutu Senya East, Gomwa, Aguna East, and Aguna West. Mrs. Ansa said, based on the report, the NYA conducted a research which mostly implicated tricycle and motorcycle riders. Regional Director expressed the hope that the riders will go back to their various destinations to be good ambassadors for dissemination of information to others to ensure reduction of sexual and gender-based violence, child marriages, and teen pregnancies. Doc, you do a lot of research, so yes. I am not sure if you understand how this happens. It is the tricycles and the motor riders that got me a little. What's
yes, that? I tried to find the actual research study documents, and see what the research methods were, but I couldn't find it.
You couldn't find it?
I couldn't find the actual.
Because I also tried.
Exactly.
Yes. I mean.
So I was looking for the research method.
Yes.
Is it a cohort study? Is this a retrospective study?
Okay.
Is it? I couldn't. Is it blinded? I couldn't tell what they were doing. Yeah. So I was looking to see exactly how they got to this conclusion. Yeah. And I couldn't find it. But however, I also understand that there's an issue of teenage pregnancy, STIs,
yes.
as well as the sexually transmitted diseases and everything in the Central Region. Mm-hmm. But I also went and looked at some of the statistics in the Central Region, and I found that the teenage pregnancy has actually reduced from 13,355 in 2024 to about 8,539 in 2014, to 8,539 in 2023. So there's a 64% decline. However, what is happening in the Western and the Central Region, I think it also mimics a little bit in the Western Region, is that STIs are going up, HIV/AIDS, STI, the incidence and the prevalence are going up. Now, when you say motorcycles and tricycle operators, I still don't get how they are the target of this. But I also know from my constituency as the parliamentary candidate that the motorcycles and the tricycle riders are actually a lot of young people.
Yes.
So when I look at my tricycle riders in my constituency, they are almost about from 17 years old to about 20-something. So they are really, really super young people. And so I get the fact that they need to be educated on best practices, on how to protect themselves, especially the girls. There's not a lot of girls in that group, but there's a few girls. And also the men on how to take care of women. So I understand the education that has gone into it by NYA, but I don't get how they jump to that conclusion. Maybe it's a fallacy of hasty conclusion. I'm not sure, because like I said, I have never actually seen the true report. But I also, like I said, know that these young people need to be educated. I mean, it's a public education, especially when STDs are going up and HIV/AIDS are going up in the Central Region. So I'm not opposed to them being educated. And I also know that the reason why this is happening is multifactorial. It has to do with poverty. It has to do with lack of employment, which is why John Mahama's 24-hour economy comes into this picture. And that's the only thing I see that can actually save some of these situations, especially in the central and the western region. Mm-hmm. Remember that the 24-hour economy is now going to open up 2 extra shifts in the 24-hour period. So traditionally, we end at 5. Everybody closes office and goes home. John Mahama is saying that with his 24-hour economy policy as well as strategy to get to that policy is that we'll open 2 extra shifts. So there will be a later afternoon shift and then overnight shift.
How about looking at it this way, where the motorcycle, you call it in your policy Okada riders,
Okada
right?
riders, yeah.
How you want to formalize it as part of your manifesto policies. So it means that you probably, that's what I thought about when I saw the headline. And I think the NPP is also promising the same, how they want to manage or create a legal framework for the Motor Riders Association. So both parties are looking at that. But you may want to, that's why we need this research, so that if we are able to, establish the facts and the data, then you know that you can't just let it go or let it slide. It's something that both parties must consider, because it's very possible that these riders will be using their motor, cycles to be visiting home. I mean, they don't have the money to buy the cars.
But
they say women like cars.
Traditionally,
so if we don't have the cars, we can use the motor.
No, traditionally, Annie, when you look at even outside the country in other jurisdictions, it's the people that are more mobile. The truck drivers, the people that drive cross country, they are the ones that get involved in these kind of random. The data actually supports that.
So logically,
it makes sense. But in this particular instance, I don't know why these are being targeted. But at the same time, like I said, I understand the education. And you said something like both parties are advocating for formalizing. No, the MPP is not advocating. Remember, Dr. Bawumia told us in 2020 that he was going to stop, not formalize the Okada, and that he was going to give every Okada driver a car. What happened to those cars? Was it one Okada driver, one car? What happened? I haven't seen one Okada driver that has put the Okada away and now has a car. So those
but maybe he's changed or varied the policy a little bit.
Yeah, because he couldn't deliver on that policy. Now he has to change it. You know how he is. He says things that he can't deliver, and it's all bragging and saying things that he can't do, and then he tries to reverse course, and now he tries to take Mahama's policy and try to appropriate them to himself. I mean, that's what traditionally he has done, and I can have several instances where he has done that. Digitalization, right? This man hasn't laid one cable on the ground. This man has not dug one hole. But he's saying that he's in charge of digitalization, when in fact he's only in charge of creating apps. When you go to South Korea, you have 14 and 12-year-olds doing they're creating apps, right? My daughter is doing app creation. That's what teenagers do. So if you're a person that wants to lead the country and you're saying that you're in charge of digitalization, then the next question is, what infrastructure have you put in place to get to your digitalization? If I'm in Asin Fosu and I'm doing video calls with my friends, somebody had to lay that cable. Somebody had to do that connectivity. Somebody had to connect it to a satellite before you can come in and do digitalization. The question I'm asking behind his whole digitalization thing is that he should come and tell us. Bawumia should come and tell us what infrastructure has he put in place to get to his quote-unquote digitalization. This is a man they told us was going to be in charge of the economy. This is a man they told us that he is the economic guru. His wife was sitting next to him smiling. My husband is an economic whiz kid. They were using all kinds of buzzwords. This was the man who was supposed to turn our economy around. Today, the dollar is how much? I checked, it was like 20-something to 1 cedi.
Oh, no, wait.
I mean, the dollar.
Today?
Today is how much?
I think it's 1.6.
What's 1.6?
Those of you who are checking.
$1 is how many cedis as of today?
16 cedis.
It's almost 20 cedis today. You understand?
Is it more than 16
This is the man who said he had arrested the dollar. Yes, it's 20 cedis. Yes. This is the man who said he had arrested the dollar, giving the key to the IGP and the exchange.
15.6.
The exchange rate will expose you. What did he say? Isn't that what he said? Now today, all of a sudden, he has abandoned the economy. Ghanaians are suffering. He has put the country in bankruptcy. We have overborrowed. We're not even paying our external debt. His government has borrowed more money, 600 and something billion, compared to all other presidents combined, from Nkrumah to every other president combined. This 1 8-year term has borrowed more money than everyone else combined. Every Ghanaian today owes about 20,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
That is when, even if we can pay, because we have stopped paying our debt. Now, this man is now coming to say what? So please, Annie, let's concentrate on what is happening, and he should come. Baumia should come and tell us about the economy.
Okay.
What happened to his economic genius?
Okay.
All of a sudden, he's no longer an economic genius.
Let me have Laura to come in. Laura, too.
This is interesting. Doc is so obsessed with the potentials of Dr. Baumia that even as a mother, talk about teenage pregnancy, you have to rope
I'm talking about
Dr.
the 24-hour economy, how it's going to create jobs
that's
for the
interesting.
teenagers.
That says a lot. Doc, please, let me make my point. Let me make my point. Honey, from what you read, I mean, over the years, it's been evident that Central Region is one of the regions that has the highest number of teenage pregnancies. I think they are the third in the country out of all the regions.
Which is the first now? North?
I need to check, but I think Central Region is the third. And I think sometime in 2021, over 7,000 girls, including a 9-year-old, were pregnant. And there was even a conversation on whether she's a teen or not. And I remember 2022, the regional minister had calls to reach out to queen mothers within the region to help. So it's an issue that needs, but the good thing is it's reducing, but it's still not at the level that we need. The bit about the research, narrowing it down to tricycle riders and all that, I think we need a further investigation into it. What was the purpose of the research? What was the problem they were seeking to unravel? We need to know those things.
I think the NI officer
methodology they used and all that is important.
Talking to the motor riders. That's why
it's important to know what, because this issue of teenage pregnancy is a multi-sector. Solving it is a multi-sector approach. You have the Department of Social Welfare, you have the Department of Children, NYA is there, and all that. So we really need to see the research to really understand what the real issue is. I mean, young people are actually the ones riding these tricycles when you go to most of the regions and most of our rural communities. So it's an issue that needs to be dealt with, an issue that we all need to be, because, I mean, that's the future.
If you check the rise of these motor riders and the business now, it just logically makes sense, even though we haven't seen the research, which we're still looking for. It makes sense if we say that, yes, they are now sort of getting involved with the women or with the young girls, because almost all the young guys who are not getting jobs to do are getting into the Okada business, sort of. They move about a lot. They get into homes, the tricycles, they get into homes to pick waste from people's houses. And so logically, if you're really thinking and following their procedure on a daily basis, it is very normal to find them involved in such activities.
Annie, I think that they're in the right age bracket to have these issues that we are discussing here, the teenage pregnancy, the STIs, the HIV increasing.
I'm sorry, let me have Laura to finish before you can come in.
It's an issue that Doc is used to that. It's an issue that...
she's used to it.
Yeah, it's an issue that we all need to be worried about and just not draw propaganda into it and make it. These are children. These are the future. Whatever anybody is trying to lay the foundation for, whatever investments we're trying to make and all that, is to inure it to the benefits of the future of this country and all that. So it's something that we all need to be worried about and contribute. There are NGOs that are doing these things. You have PPAG out there. But the good thing is that they're educating them. Because from what you read, it was a trainer of trainers.
Yes.
So once they train them, we also need to ensure that they are also further training their fellow colleagues. But with all this is the initiatives that a government puts in place that will help solve these things if they are in school. And we all know the impact that Free SHS has made in this regard. Someone was even telling me yesterday that because of Free SHS, it's even difficult to get helps these days. And now with all the other promises coming up, other policy promises. But let me clear, not to sound insensitive, let me clear one untruth that Doc puts out there in terms of fiber optics and all those things to do with digitalization. And let's also have it clear that anybody who understands where the world is running will not be amazed at an economist like Dr. Mahmoud Baumia championing digitalization, because that's what is moving the world economy now. As we sit here, e-commerce is a big deal in this country, and what does it run on? I don't know if Doc has heard about the Western Corridor Fiber Optic Infrastructure Project in Takoradi. You're from Western Region. It's a private sector-led endeavor in collaboration with Huawei and Spectrum. And when they talk as if they are the ones who started leading in fibers, then all that President Kufuor did in 2003 with the Eastern Corridor Fiber Project that they came to inherit since 2003 up to about 2007. I mean, so they shouldn't make it seem as if they are the ones. Obviously, they don't understand the impact of digitalization, and they are still dealing with the analog way of doing things. It's the digital era, and there's nothing wrong with an economist. Today, you don't need to move around a lot to get your own money. You can sit in the comfort of your house. That is due to digitalization. You don't need to move outside your home to pay for a government service. You can do that on Ghana.gov. Those are the things we are talking about. Those are the life-changing policies we are talking about. It's not about talking about running ships. Critical sectors in this country are already running ships. Demand and supply determine some of these things. Things that people were not selling at night. Now you get them doing it because there's demand for it. So we need to put these things in the context of it. And at the end of the day, with all these interventions that are going on, making sure that everybody is captured. And one of the key things is about getting data. When you move outside this country, most of the countries we compare ourselves to or we try to benchmark is because they have data of their citizenry. But when the child is born, they already have the data on the child has a number, and these things are used to plan. So the introduction of the Ghana card alone helps with putting data and will help with planning. It also helps in plugging most of the loopholes that we have within our financial sector. Last week, I was telling you about how much we've saved alone by running the systems at National Service and SNITs. By virtue of just linking SNITs to the Ghana cards alone, we saved the country over 300 million. National Service alone, I think it's over some 400 or some 300 million. So between the two agencies, that is what digitalization can do to an economy. And this is what our compatriots need to. And you build infrastructure, you put things in place, but if the systems are not there to make sure that all that you are reaping, doesn't go down the drain. You are plugging this old controller and counter
that
general. We don't even need to go to. We don't even need
they've put
to
in
go
infrastructure,
The digital
which
center.
you are building on.
Thank you.
So you cannot claim that you champion digitalization over them.
Mahama
They
started
appreciate it, and that's why they
e-services.
put those foundations. That's the argument.
So what did they build on? They build on from what President Kufuor started. Isn't that it? Have they given that credit to President Kufuor in 2003?
What
Going
credit?
forward. When did digitalization start in this country? When did the GIFEC start giving laptops and all that? It was during President Kufuor's era. So, and which party brought President Kufuor to power? It was the New Patriotic Party. So you can't come and educate us on what we have started. They don't understand because they didn't start it. They just came to build on it. Of course they don't. If they understand, they won't be always saying, why is Dr. Baumia championing digitalization as an economic... Annie, please, don't let us... Let me talk about what my...
Cables,
you see...
laid fiber optic cables, they don't understand
They don't do what? They came to build on
Build
what President Kufuor
has
started. The classrooms that they left is built. Look, no nation in this era now, in this fourth industrial revolution, I think even the European Commission has already demarcated the fifth industrial revolution. You get it? So it's the way to go. And how do you do it? It's by virtually knowing the people in your country.
Yeah.
How do you know the people in your country? It's by having a one ID system. And that is what we are doing. They need to understand and stop all these little things and kukobon kitty and wache and ajo wache and all those things that they are bringing. Yes, they are going to be giving people to, when we are talking about Ghana Enterprise Agency enhancing the expertise of entrepreneurs, SMEs and all that, they are talking about coming to give small chicken and small hen coops to people.
Chicks.
Yeah, day-old chicks. And I mean, Annie, let's talk about what Dr. Baumia has to do. And we've made it clear between Dr. Baumia and the flag bearer of the NDC. It's about the past and the future. Dr. Baumia is the future. Dr. Baumia is the one that can lead this nation to where we want to. And he started, he's shown it. The people of Ghana saw what the former president did and said we didn't want it. He came again the second time. They said we still don't want you. Dr. Baumia is just a vice president. And if you listen to, there was this book that was launched on him. I've forgotten, Prof. Britain. I mean, what were we demanding from vice presidents over the years? And now it's like it's become one of the offices that we all look forward to. Who made it? He's the one. You get it? He has so much to offer. And Dr. Baumia,
wait.
if you make Dr. Baumia...
Hold on.
Annie, let me finish then you can ask my question. If you make Dr. Baumia the president, he's not just coming for 4 years. He has a contract with us. After 4 years, he has to come and renew his mandate. He has to come and account. So even if he doesn't account, inshallah, if he becomes president in 2025, come 2028, you have to come and give an account of why his mandate must be renewed.
Okay.
You give it to the former president. He has only 4 years.
You said he's the one that made the office work.
I think that he's the one that's brought some life into the office of the vice president. And that was made clear in the book that, is it Professor Sikanku? H.S. Kanku wrote a book on the vice president.
That Dr. Baumia has made.
Yeah. But Annie, I mean, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the vice.
I haven't read the book.
Let's talk about
is that what they said in the book?
Let's talk about the vice presidents that we've had, that you and I have seen.
Book?
I wouldn't say at my age, I wouldn't say I saw former vice president of blessed memory, His Excellency Aka. I wouldn't say I saw him, but we've read, and all those things. After him was late Professor Mills. Right. After him was former President John Dramani Mahama.
Oh,
right.
Kufuor, you left Kufuor out. Kufuor vice president.
Late Aliu Mahama. These were vice presidents that were there. We are not even having a lot of conversations on this, who is heading EMT and all that. We knew the vice president. All we were accustomed to was when the president is not there, is the vice president that's taking. It was more like a ceremonial position for him. That is the context in which I'm saying it. But
okay, so
Dr.
Bawumia did what?
even as running mate,
yes,
right, showed with all the lectures he held and all that, said a lot of things. Most of the things that he said are clear to us now.
Economic lectures.
Oh, come on, Doc, please. You get it? So if you look at all the history of vice presidents in this country, it's been ceremonial. You never really had a vice president.
So he has not really
I remember
been,
what I remember
so
clearly.
So he has not really been a ceremonial president.
No, he hasn't been a ceremonial. He's had his hands down, he's folded his sleeves up, he's worked.
So
what I remember,
comments.
Forgive me, but I don't really remember the other vice president. But what I remember with the late Alhaji Aliyu Mahama was the campaign against indiscipline. He had something like that. He was leading that campaign. That was what I remember for him. But most of the time, it was just when the president is not there, they go for events and all that. What they were doing, if they were doing a lot behind the scenes, it wasn't really out there for all of us to see. But I think that with all that, and for a former president who says that you can't criticize anybody until you become president before, I think Dr. Bawumia has discharged himself well. Today he's in Ashanti region.
Saying all this.
Today he's in Ashanti region.
You're saying all this about the man who said, I was just a mate.
Yes. Come again. But what is he?
Wasn't
who started calling him a mate first? It was the former chief of staff, Honorable Julius Debra. Was it in Kayo where who went to call, who started calling him a mate?
Who.
So
but
that mate concept, he didn't enjoy it.
No. He didn't speak from the inspiration of former chief of staff.
What inspiration?
If you listen to, we can play that video. If you listen to his lecture, he started. In fact, it was the basis on which his whole lecture was hinged on.
Yes.
Was the
If you listen to him well and the comment he made, he was not taking inspiration from whatever name. He didn't say that, well, they call me the mate.
What is he?
So I'm the mate.
What is he?
Annie, what he was trying to do.
What is he? The flag bearer and leader of the New Patriotic now, His Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia. What is he? He's Vice President. Did you listen to His Excellency the President during the State of the Nation address? Did you listen to him?
The President Nana
Dankwa Akufo-Addo. What did he say? I mean, not to quote, but to paraphrase him. He said, he is the president. He is the one in charge. Anything that comes to him from another person is advisory. It's up to him to take it or leave it, good or bad. He's the one responsible.
Then you cannot tell us that he is made of.
So so she's contradicting herself. She's contradicting herself.
He supervises digitalization. He didn't hide from it. When he was saying that was what he was given to supervise.
She's contradicting herself.
It's not true. It's not true. He was not giving digitalization to supervise. He was giving the economy to supervise. We all heard it. We've been saying
about the economic guru, the economic whiz kid. What is the economy today? What are the economic indexes?
Okay, allow her. He is the head of EMT, right? The Economic Management Team, a committee, right? That has members on it, mostly economists. But as depending on what they are discussing, they bring. So you have people like the accountant general and all those people. People go and make presentations to them. Institutions go and make presentations to them. They bring their report. It goes to who? It goes to the head of the nation, the head of states, to take decisions on it.
Yeah, I know.
They go
advise
him, and he takes the decision on it. Digitalization, until it was headed, it was added to Ministry of Communication to further enhance its implementation. It was under the Office of the President. Anybody who has been part of the implementation of Ghana.gov, it was coordinated from the Vice President's office. These are verifiable facts. It was coordinated. The meetings that we had were there. So that is what I'm telling you, that what he was given to oversee has results.
But the point I'm making is that the 2020 campaign and 2016 was not hinged on digitalization. It was largely hinged on the economy. Because it was what we were even using against the previous administration.
What moves
we were using the Dumso we're using the economy, we're using the
recent
CD,
economy?
we're using all the economic fundamentals. And that was largely on the economy, which is why Nanado says, I'm bringing in Dr. Baumia.
Every time
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Everybody will be fighting over time, but let me, yeah.
What moves the economy? And it's fundamentally your data and your systems. What moves systems these days? Everybody is going digital.
And you remember?
What moves your system? How do you fight corruption? What do you say?
So how do you fight?
Go to a place.
So
why are we always excited about come again?
How do you fight CD depreciation?
But CD depreciation, we have not hidden away from the fact that apart from our internal issues, we had external shocks. And like I always say, the moment you mention COVID and all those things, our compatriots are up in arms. But their own leader, when he was at Harvard, reiterated that point that COVID has dealt us a heavy blow.
After we benefited from the windfall of COVID.
A $1 billion from US and all this
compared
money that
to what
we
spent on COVID.
What did we
spend on COVID? How many hospitals did you build?
Please, stop, please.
Doc, allow her.
How many hospitals did they build?
Doc, allow her.
You know better than I do.
How many hospitals?
The brick and mortar structures.
How many hospitals did you build?
It's not what you used to fight pandemics.
How many hospitals did you build?
That is your area.
How many
hospitals?
It's not
the brick and mortar structures that you used to fight a
How
pandemic.
many hospitals did you build?
Oh, okay. You use the systems and but I've always said this here.
Okay, go
and
ahead.
when it comes to health, you want to politicize
I'm just
it.
Noting this down so that when we come to Agenda 111, you don't tell me that we're finishing 50 billion.
Annie, listen. Okay. You see, when it comes to health, you put health in context. It's not if we finish Agenda 111.
It's not the listen, the bricks and mortar.
If we finish Agenda 111, the infrastructure, right, the civil works, and there are no equipment, that is no hospital.
If we
equip it, and there are no staff,
Agenda
no
111.
Okay. If there are no systems to ensure, if there are no systems to ensure that patients coming in there get their due, it's no hospital.
If somebody has COVID,
should know that it's not a matter.
If somebody has COVID,
why did Agenda 111 come? Because there was a gap.
Okay.
They need to go from the primary level to the tertiary level.
No, the point I wanted to make with Agenda 111.
You want everybody to be coming to
the point I wanted to make with Agenda
Kolebu, or everybody to be going to the regional hospitals.
The point I'm making with Agenda 111 is that when she made reference to what you built from COVID.
How many hospitals did they build during COVID time?
You said that it's not brick and mortar.
If you have COVID, where would you go? Wouldn't you go to a hospital?
If you limit it to COVID,
how many ventilators did they buy during COVID?
And I have always maintained
COVID is a respiratory disease. COVID is a respiratory. COVID is a respiratory disease.
Just a moment. Let me do this before.
COVID is a respiratory disease. Okay, so how many ventilators did they buy during COVID?
Doctor, a moment. So Betway Cash Out says that the Ekosombo Dam is big, but Betway Cash Out is way bigger, and we're giving you more control over every thrilling bet you place. Enjoy the biggest and the most reliable cash out of Ghana. In Ghana today with Betway without any hassle. Sign up today on betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply and not for persons under 18. And also is regulated by the Gaming Commission. Also, Blue Jeans Energy Drink is on the Ghanaian market. It has been there for 20 years and we already know what it does for the body. It contains vitamins like B2, B3, B6, B12, taurine and guarana, and also it is known to boost your energy and strength as well as to promote high performance and endurance. Blue Jeans Energy Drink has been tested and tried and is best on the market. So they are across nationwide. Please contact them on Budget Cash and Carry Limited on 0208 128 190 or 0550 0010000. Yes, we're rounding up. I'm just waiting for a Attorney General Office program streaming the law offices. We're going to pick it. Let me pick the invitation card so that I don't get it wrongly. And it says that, okay, it is the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice has the honor to invite you to the commissioning of the Law House. Yeah, the Law House. And it's happening at 9:30. That's the time they give us. But the streaming has not started yet. So as and when the program starts, we definitely will pick it live. So just let's stand by for that. And anytime it comes through, I'm going to cut the program. Yes, Doc, just a quick one for us to go through the campaign promises of both parties. And just to be fair, yesterday we had the John Mahama streaming live, and it was like the launch of what he calls the Mahama conversation, right? And I know that Dr. Bawumia is in Kumasi now.
Dr. Bawumia is wrapping up his 16 regional tours.
Is Isaac Osei, is Honorable Isaac Osei being considered?
Come again.
Is Isaac Osei being considered?
Considered for what?
Running
It's the sole prerogative of the flag bearer.
Okay.
Are you
So
having
I'm
a
starting
single
with you. I was just
conversation
doing
with
a little
Larati that
conversation.
maybe
Sorry,
I
I'm coming back to
extricate
you.
myself?
Oh, don't say that.
Because you're having the whole conversation.
Don't say that.
We have given the whole
Don't say that. I
conversation to
said don't say
Larati.
that.
You're not being fair
Don't
with
say
your
that.
time.
Please let her do her
don't say
So, Annie,
Yes.
we are talking about President Mahama and his engagement with the community, which he has done this, several years, 2020, 2022, 23, now in 24. So he's just continuing his community engagement. He really wants to know what Ghanaians want from his government, what Ghanaians want from our government. So all of this is part of the engagement. So he met with the creative arts industry, I believe, on Friday. I was actually there. It was very interesting. A lot of the creative arts people came, and they told us how bad the industry has become since they handed this government over to the MPP government. And they are hoping that this is, the unanimous decision made by the creative art industry, that they are hoping that when John Mahama becomes the next, which he will become the next president, that there are certain things that they want to revive the Kumewood and to revive the creative arts industry. And President Mahama also promised that he would do a platform to showcase their work, which is a paid TV channel. You know, elsewhere in the UK, in the US, we have a pay-per-view TV where people actually pay to get certain services that are not free services, that you just can't turn off on your TV and have that. When that happens, there's going to be income generated. It's going to create a lot of jobs. Again, John Mahama's whole thing is about job creation and job creation for the youth. He's very concerned about where the country is going now, where the youth are. We just talked about the Okada. We talked about the Aboboya drivers. We talked about the Praja drivers. This is what John Mahama's whole economy is going to be about. It's about creating jobs for the youth, the teaming youth. He even said somewhere in that thing, the video that you played, that if we are not careful, some people will turn 60 in Ghana and they would have never worked.
Yes. I mean, that was quite alarming for me.
Yes.
Because the today situation with especially pensions disturbs me. And then to say that, well, we'll have people who have never worked in their lives.
They've never worked. They finished VSHS 5 years.
With the current situation, they may arise to a point where they will never work.
Some of them have finished VSHS in my country 5 years post VSHS and they are still at home. So this thing is a public health crisis. It's a national security crisis. I'm talking about youth unemployment. It's a huge
with a promise
problem.
of something like
and
cleaning the beaches.
Exactly.
He says that it's going to engage the youth.
Yes.
To be doing that.
Yes. It will create jobs, again, all based on his 24-hour economy strategy or policy. And that is what is going to bring all these young people. It's going to be both private sector and public sector. It's not just going to be private. He's going to create industries. We're going to be working 24-hour around the clock. Thankfully, God gave us 24 hours in a day. In Ghana, we only use 8 of them. So President Mahama is saying that he's going to open up the next 16 hours of the day, and that would create more employment, both public sector, private sector. He's going to create more factories. He's going to hire these young people, you know, the Praja drivers, like we talked about, the Okada drivers, the beach cleaners. This is the policy that Ghana needs. The UK practices it, the US practices it.
Let me say
Every
something
good
about,
jurisdiction is practicing a 24-hour economy.
Allow me to,
system.
Bring your mind to something when it comes to some of these policies. Some of the policies are, they see the problem, so they want to address the problem, but they fail to look at the fundamental problem.
Which is?
So, for example, the beaches. People go to the beaches to ease themselves. Some discard waste in the waters because they see that there's no leadership controlling or managing the banks. they go there to eat and so because they don't have toilet facilities in their homes
Yes.
or even outside where people can decide that, okay, well, I am pressed, I want to use here and stuff like that. So
I wish you could go back and
we,
play what President Mahama said. He said he was going to increase sanitation and waste management.
Okay.
He was very thorough in what he said. He didn't leave anything out. And he has actually thought through the process.
Okay.
It is not something like what Paumia would do and come and brag and say one district, one factory, agenda 111 in 18 months when he hasn't even done agenda 1. You understand? So it's not sloganeering. It is not, he's not campaigning and saying things that he can't promise, and now he's going to promise us economy and turn around and be the quote-unquote digitalization when somebody else had to do that Accra Digital Center. E-government, remember we've had this conversation before, was started by John Mahama. It's in our green book, right? So all they did was change the name and now are trying to lay claim to it. So that's not what we are talking about. President Mahama, in that speech, he was very thorough and he explained himself. Like you said, the sanitation and the beaches, the plastics that are coming. He said he will improve sanitation and waste management. And these actually young people that are going to be hired. He's going to do beach patrols in most jurisdictions. Like I lived in Southern California, and in most of the beaches, we had young people that would sweep the beach like in the morning and pick up plastics and things like that to waste management. So President Mahama has thought through the process, and he's telling you that this is what he will do. After we collect the waste, this is how we'll process the waste. This is how we'll process sanitation. We will do this and that. So President Mahama has not been ambiguous. He was very clear on his policy, his mandate. This man has done the work before. This is a man who has the best experience in the country. This is a man who is honest, who doesn't lie. This is a man who cares about the country. This is a man who has been given the mandate, and up to today, there is no scandal involving him personally. They've been in government for 8 years. Tell me one scandal that has happened that President Mahama's name has come in as an individual. So President Mahama is unblemished, and the good news about it is that even Kama has spoken for him. Back in the day when they were insulting him, when they were calling him corrupt, when every opportunity Baumia got, he went and talked about the economy, how bad President Mahama's economy was. Today, look, he has disgraced himself completely. Now he's running away from his own policies on the economy. This is the guy who was supposed to be the head of the economic management team. So by definition, all buck stops with the head of the institution, right? Or the committee, right? Now all of a sudden he's a mate. Laratu is contradicting herself. First, he was in charge. First, he is the one who is the only vice president who has done blah, blah, blah. Next, he's like, oh, no, he's not in charge. He's just the mate. He's behind Akufo-Addo. He has brought vice presidency. This is the man who was bragging and having lectures all over the country, telling us about the economy. Now, what happened to the economy? Today, we need President Mahama to come and show Bawumia that all those lies that he spoke were not true. And also, we need Baumia to come and tell us what is happening in the economy today. Right. Today, when you go to market, tomatoes 3 is 20 cedis. Today, when you go to market, 2 cassava banchi 2 is almost 15 cedis. The other day, I took 100 cedis to the market in Kojokro market. I bought 3 tomatoes, 100 cedis or Ghana cedis. I bought 3 tomatoes. I bought 5 pieces of pepper. I got 2 cassavas. I couldn't even get plantain, so even my fufu was only cassava fufu that I wanted to eat because I couldn't afford the plantain. So
thank you.
This is the economy that President Bawumia has left us, and Akufo-Addo is. So the issue is that don't let Laratu come and sit here and change the narrative. We go to the market. Remember when Bawumia was telling us that we should go to Abobloshi, or we should go to, he was using the market economy to say how bad President Mahama's economy was. Today we are using market economy. Yeah. Go to Kojokro market, go to Makola.
But
and tell us what
selling the plantain at the Agric Ministry.
Can you imagine one whatever they call the planting for food and jobs? And how many people in my constituency can come to Agric Ministry to buy plantain? Okay. Is that how you do an economy that is going to be beneficial to all of us? Okay. So Annie, don't let Laratu come and sit here and tell us that our pockets are not empty.
Okay, but
don't let
let's
Laratu come and sit here and tell us that we are not starving to death.
For the sake of time,
Our children are not starving to go to bed. Don't let Laratu come and tell us that the hospitals are functioning. Don't let Laratu come and sit here and tell us anything that we as Ghanaians we are experiencing firsthand. That we are experiencing doomsday. That we are experiencing, all of our fish that we keep in the refrigerator are all rotten. So don't let her come and do propaganda here and tell us that things are not as hard as we are experiencing. We are Ghanaians and we are all experiencing. And the sad part about it is, Annie, is that NDC and NPP, we are experiencing the same thing. Even the MPP people themselves, they have not been exempt from this hard economy. The MPP people. So they are even complaining more. Right. So for Laratu to sit here is disingenuous, and for her to come and tell us that we are not suffering
should be embarrassed. Anybody should be embarrassed. It should be Doc for her AK-47 analysis this morning and the lies she spewed.
I showed you
talking
pictures.
about
Annie,
this is someone who somehow claims she peels onions with a peeler. I wonder how she's preparing her fufu. Anyway, let's go to the real issues. Let's even go to the real issues. And I believe that Banchitu she used the peeler.
There's a Banchi peeler, didn't you know that?
She sits down here and she wants to do basics and misleading people.
There's a peeler.
Look, Annie. I would have been surprised if she hadn't gone on and on about Dr. Bawumia. The fear that our compatriots in the NDC have for Dr. Bawumia because of the way he's moving. Today, he's wrapping up his 16 regional tour in Ashanti region. And I believe that...
Ambassador Edith Hazel said I should tell you that she bought 10 pieces of tomato for 50 cedis.
Nobody has denied the fact that we are in difficult times in the country. Nobody has. Things may be difficult, but not the way the NDC people are exaggerating. Now they get up and go and pick 3 pieces of pepper, come and take a picture and say, I bought this. I mean, they are being exposed on social media. The things are difficult. We are all feeling it. Nobody has denied it. And efforts are being put on daily basis to do that. When last did I do what?
Did you buy anything from the market?
When last did I buy anything from the market?
She doesn't go to the market, so she doesn't.
My sister goes to the market. I don't lie like Dog did. My sister does. And the last time she doesn't go to the market. The last time I went to the market with my sister, I was overwhelmed. I realized that I was shortchanging her. So we had a good one. But my younger sister goes to the market for me. I don't lie about that like that. Of course. I mean, things that even basic things like everyday breakfast items that we buy. The other time I was telling you, the bread I buy used to be 2 cedis, now it's 2 cedi, 50 pesos because of obvious reasons. Those are things that we haven't had.
Bread is
the rolls that I buy.
Oh, the rolls, okay.
The rolls that I buy, where I buy my bread. I don't go and buy bread at where they sell peelers.
She doesn't cook.
I buy bread
at where they bake bread.
They bake bread. I go to the bakery. I don't go to a digital bakery. So Dr. Bawumia is running up his trips. And Annie, I always say that we must sit here and talk, but it's the life-changing policies and the things that you can refer to. How do you identify youth who are not employed? How do you identify how to put measures in place to get the right jobs for the right people? You deal with the training aspect of it. So if you realize at the Ministry of Education, we're trying to bridge the gap between the sciences. That's what has brought up the STEM schools and all that. So that because you can't say you want to be producing and be training those at the end. So the bridge between the humanities. Because if there's no factory, how do you get an HR? How do you get an admin person? How do you get all those people that do the thinking? Someone must be doing the production and all that. That led to most of the policies we bring. You train the people. You need the right human resource for the way the world is moving. When JHS, because of financial issues, because of compulsory basic education, the cutoff point for education used to be junior high school. Now it's senior high school. That is an addition to the quality of your human resource. When we are talking about putting measures in place for job creation and for entrepreneurship, which is for the order of the day, That is what you say. You just don't get up and throw it in the air that you are coming to create jobs. You don't create jobs in the vacuum. You set it off through training to creating
when you
the
were
jobs.
coming into office. We will come and create jobs.
And jobs and jobs.
Yes.
People
so let me
will come from
Doc,
Amanoni
please stop
to
the
work here.
AK-47 analysis. That's not what we are going to do here. Honey,
I'm just saying
we brought in
that
policies.
you said the same thing when you were coming.
We brought in, yes.
So it's the
let
same
me
thing
build
they're
my
saying.
point. You get it? How do you work? One of the things that is not lost on any of us is the fact that we are an import-driven economy. How do you deal with that? You need to have local production. 1D, 1F may have had its challenges, but the factories are coming up. Annie, the 160 factories, even if they're employing 10 people, that's 160 people. That is a journey from solving the problem. You go up north. One of the issues that was challenging farmers was rain-fed agriculture.
Yeah.
We may have challenges with 1D, 1F, but I remember the last time we're going to WA through solar. We saw a number of them. When you go to Northern Development Authority, they have data. The last time I heard them putting out some of the data, I think we had targeted that some 372 or some 400 and something, and about 70% of those dams were reaping benefits.
Where?
So around them, I saw a couple of them.
Which
where
dam?
we're going. One village, one dam. Some are reaping. No, please.
70
Give
dams.
us one. What dam?
Come
what
again.
Town?
When you go, I remember when the DC for Bole, I remember, when she was giving
example.
up, he said there were 10 of them that were working. I'll get the data and give it to you. But when you check with Northern Development, Annie, let me continue. When you go to the dams,
when you are talking and you are giving facts, and I'm following up on your facts, you cannot be shouting at me that way.
Please,
that's what you did.
Okay.
I'm just saying that if there are dams that have been created by this government, they are physical things that we should see with our eyes.
So
why is it so difficult for even the government to put it out, or the institution having oversight to put it out for us to see? Give us a specific area so we go there and tell Ghanaians that this is what government has done.
You also have the responsibility as a journalist to also bring the information to the people. That is why I'm telling you that if you go to Northern Development Authority, right? If you go to Northern Development Authority, they have figures on there, about 70% of it. I'll get the data and send you. But you also have the responsibility as a journalist, as a member of the fourth estate of the realm, to give us that data and come back and tell everybody that
when
what
you
I
show
said,
me or giving me the data, where you show me where the area is, of course I will follow up.
If you get the data for Northern Development Fund, it will come with them. I don't want to say anything of it because I don't have the data, but they have some 300. I keep forgetting them, but over 300 of those dams are reaping results.
300 of the dams.
Let her give us just one.
Don't forget, it's one village, not one district.
So what village?
Oh no, please, let's be simple.
What village, please? I just want to know.
I keep quiet.
What village?
If you really understood
what
and
village?
You believed in what you were saying,
village?
you would have kept quiet
What
for
village?
me to say,
Please,
to speak.
just one.
So
What
for
village?
those things, that was one of the things that were affecting farming because it was mainly rain-fed. What are you doing? You are building factories.
So
what
we have 300 irrigation dams.
It's not irrigation dam.
What is it?
The promise was one village, one dam. So under the one village, one dam policy, check with Northern Development Authority. They have those figures. Some are reaping. Some didn't work at all. When you go there, they are dry. Some are reaping benefits, and you have farmers planting. I'm not too conversant with the roads along the WA road. That's why I don't want to mention any. I was with Akusu and another person. We saw a couple of them.
And is it
some couple of the dams?
Oh yes, a couple of them. There are some dams that are existing. There are some dams that I'm not familiar with that route. It's not a frequent route that I use, right? But
so you didn't stop
along the way, those things are there. But I can from here, I'll get you information so you can put out. Forget about her because she doesn't understand. Because you see,
So
if
when
you
I
don't
ask
stop,
you,
if
so
you
when I
don't
ask
stop,
you these
yes,
questions,
yes.
don't do any.
The
Come
audience
again.
wants to know.
So when
I'm just saying it's not nice.
So
Don't
what
do
I'm
that
saying
again.
is that, you see, you don't come out and just make back. I mean, any policy that you come out with on a certain scale that hasn't been really implemented will come with its own challenge. And like I said, when you go to some of the dams, they are dry. Nothing is happening there. Some didn't do well. I mean, you know these things. Some don't fit the specifications that were given. I'll send you data. I'll send you at least 20 of the dams that are working. When I send you, you can always put it up. I'm not too sure. If I'm deployed, I'll be here.
So that your
if I'm deployed, I'll go and get the data. If not, but after the show,
I want to get the data. Do the checks before you come here.
No problem. I can get you the data. Some are not working. That is a fact.
And
some
your
are
audience
working.
are waiting
so what
for
I'm
just
saying
one
is
example.
like, if you want to deal with an import-based economy, those are the fundamentals you deal with. And again, the data that you use, the single identity data that you use, that will also tell you this person is there, that person is there, this number of people are in there. You plan. That is why we are still having issues with our infrastructure when it comes to basic services like water and all that. Because we don't have the data to plan, we haven't planned well. The ECG and Ghana Water are rather following development rather than the developments being, because most of the places are new areas.
So the Dumso is because of the lack of data?
What Dumso?
The Dumso we are
When was the last time your power went off?
Huh?
When was the last time your power went off?
Oh, last week I experienced about 2 or 3 times.
Yes. And did you inquire what the issue was?
Hey,
no, I'm asking.
Now when your power goes off,
because what I know is, and from what the Ministry of Energy and the ECG have said, they were doing maintenance and all that. You get it? What I know to be doing so was when we were doing sometimes even 24 hours. When there will be, a baby will be in an incubator and just go off because power goes off like that. And all those things. When we had quantums, people with people use huge things. Annie, we can go into those dark 4 years of Dumso. What happened within the past 6 months or 1 year has been unpleasant.
Okay, so what we're
but I remember, look,
now,
2 days ago.
What we're experiencing now.
Was it 2 or 3 days ago when there was the storm?
What we're experiencing now is power going off, but it's not Dumso.
To me, in the context of what the NDC dealt us for the 4 years under their current flag bearer, I won't compare what we've survived.
My time is up.
Look,
Annie,
2 days ago when there was a storm, you believe it, I went round, put everything off in my room. And the line didn't go, the line didn't go off.
All right.
I don't do AK-47 analysis.
Let's go and like follow the program of the law house opening. It's supervised by the Attorney General's office.
Things that
Thank you, ladies.